As of Tropical Cyclone Alfred latest update, Alfred TC-18P continues its slow approach towards the eastern coast of Australia. As of the latest update at 1500 UTC on March 6, 2025, the cyclone is located approximately 113 nautical miles, 209 kilometers, east of Brisbane, moving westward at 4 kilometers per hour. Environmental conditions: unfavorable, with strong vertical wind shear and dry air entrainment. Recent satellite imagery shows a nearly exposed low-level circulation, with deep convection primarily in the southern quadrant of the cyclone. Environmental conditions remain unfavorable for significant intensification, with high vertical wind shear, 46 to 56 kilometers per hour, and weak poleward outflow limiting development. Tropical cyclone Alfred is forecast to continue on a west-southwestward path over the next 12 hours before shifting west-northwest towards Morton Island. Landfall is expected between 24 and 36 hours north of Brisbane. The system is predicted to weaken slightly before landfall, due to cooling sea surface temperatures and continued wind shear. Wind speed at landfall, expected to be around 83 kilometers per hour. Dissipation: the cyclone is forecast to weaken rapidly after landfall and dissipate within 72 hours. Model guidance shows strong agreement on the forecast track, with all models predicting a similar path. The intensity forecast also aligns with expectations of weakening after landfall. Track confidence, 0 to 72 hours. High. Intensity confidence, 0 to 72 hours. High. Heavy rainfall. Persistent rainfall is expected over coastal Queensland, leading to potential flash flooding. Strong winds. Gusts exceeding 100 kilometers per hour may affect coastal areas. Rough seas. High waves and storm surge could pose a threat to marine activities. Residents in the affected areas are advised to stay updated on official weather warnings and prepare for severe weather conditions. Stay tuned for further updates as TC Alfred progresses towards the Australian coast. On Friday morning, meteorologists mapping the trajectory of Tropical Cyclone Alfred were predicting it would make landfall either Friday night or Saturday morning, somewhere between Noosa and Coolangatta. The most recent tracking map suggested it could cross north of Brisbane. Alfred's slow progress to the mainland could prolong already severe conditions to the south of its projected path, particularly in parts of the Gold Coast and northern New South Wales. Thousands of people in parts of the New South Wales northern rivers were told to leave their homes on Thursday night, including residents in Lismore's CBD north and south. Evacuation orders were issued as far south as the Nambucca Shire, more than 400 kilometers south of the Queensland NS border. The NS State Emergency Service warned people in 11 locations to evacuate before 9 p.m. on Thursday: Yuki, Fingal Heads, and Tumbulgum in the Tweed catchment, North Lismore, South Lismore, Byron Bay, Lennox Head, Ballina and Alstonville Lismore, Lismore CBD and East Lismore in the Lismore catchment, Bungawalbin and low-lying parts of Kyogle and Karaki in the Richmond catchment, and Billinudgel in the Brunswick catchment. Queensland Police warned people on the Gold Coast to prepare to take shelter on Thursday night. Authorities in Brisbane said 20,000 properties in the city were at risk of inundation from a storm surge or flooding as Alfred continued its track towards the populated southeast Queensland coast. When and where is Tropical Cyclone Alfred going to hit? The Bureau's track maps include a large area in grey outside the main track that represents the area where the cyclone could go. In advice published at 7:52 a.m. Queensland time, 8:52 AEDT, on Friday, the BOM said the center of Alfred was expected to cross the Queensland coast at about 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, most likely between Double Island Point and Noosa, and just south of Brisbane's CBD. Staying up to date with the maps is the best way to stay informed. At 9 a.m. Queensland time, 10 a.m. AEDT on Friday, the BOM said Alfred remained a Category 2 system with sustained winds near the center of 100 kilometers per hour, with wind gusts to 140 kilometers per hour. It was still moving slowly towards the coast, 160 kilometers east of Brisbane and 135 kilometers east-northeast of the Gold Coast. Why did Tropical Cyclone Alfred slow down on its destructive path towards Australia's east coast? Read more. The center of the cyclone was expected to cross over the Moreton Bay Islands on Saturday morning before crossing the mainland coast, most likely between Noosa and Beenleigh, later during Saturday. Communities from Double Island Point in Queensland to Grafton in New South Wales, including Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Byron Bay, and Ballina, but not including Grafton, were in the warning zone as of Friday morning. Since Thursday night, the strongest wind gusts have been seen at Cape Byron, where there was a mean wind speed of 92 kilometers per hour and gusting up to 120 kilometers per hour. Gold Coast Airport also experienced 100 kilometers per hour wind gusts, with Evans Head and Cape Morton seeing 98 kilometers per hour wind gusts, destructive wind gust.